Welcome to Indianapolis in the TCRs. Today we're going to be rocking the Honda Civic. It's been a while since we've been at TCR itself, and it really does show. Starting off the race in position 7, going to get a great launch off the light, beat Air Ricky. Away we go. Probably using stability control, to be fair. That's why I didn't get the greatest start off the line. But we are now going to get swamped by the Fartcan Velosters. Absolutely lovely. As we enter turn 1, all manners of chaos going to break loose. I end up hitting Gabri to our right hand side, which was a little bit unexpected as the radar couldn't be bothered to pick them up, as well as that poor victim that went in the wrong direction just there. So we're going to go up the inside of the red Veloster there, and we have a car to our left who, unbeknown to me, is unable to give space. And thanks to the unusual physics of Forza, where a little bit of contact, and then I would say it was definitely a little bit of contact where we could have both suppressed each other a lot more. The fact of that never happened resulted in us having a spectacular moment and only actually losing really 1 or 2 positions. So we can't really grumble too much at that. Almost cutting off the track limits there and giving ourselves a penalty, but again, luck was on our side. We come around this corner now, not able to see absolutely anything. The sun is beaming right down on us, cutting that corner, and that is the penalty. Oh, we look at that. Well, no penalty was awarded for a brutal cut of the track. Usually you get pretty hammered there. Now we have Barney up in front. It's been a while since I've seen Barney at this track. Barney's 2000. It's great to see him here. We've just got to try and close in that door. We have Zuno 3 seconds behind us, which is absolutely brilliant news. We're not under pressure from anybody. It's just more of a case of working our way back up, trying to regain the understanding of how TCR actually works, because they are very, very different to GT cars. Especially the rear end does like to slide out a little bit more, and it's just a whole different characteristic of car overall. So it's kind of an unusual feeling being back here, and it's going to be about a couple of laps before we start settling back in and getting back into a little bit of rhythm at least. Catch up to Barney thanks to a good bit of slipstream. TCRs love the slipstream, but you do get a little bit of, well, draft that sucks you in and really does affect your braking as well as your cornering ability. Far more pronounced, I think, in TCR than it is in GT racing, to be fair. And it's unusual to say that because it's the first time I've actually really noticed it. That's, well, I can only say it's due to the break we've had from TCR itself and just been leveling up in GT racing, trying to be a bit more, well, a bit faster at least. Again, almost nearly cutting that corner because, again, the sun's blaring in our eyes and I can't see absolutely anything. And I'm not criticising the sun whatsoever, because it is actually a very beautiful sunset, and very few tracks that is defined as sunset, and it generally is a sunset. You know, usually Forza define a sunset as pitch black, so I'm not grumbling there whatsoever. It's actually visually and aesthetically very, very beautiful. What isn't so beautiful, it was not closing really this door in on Barney up in front, and we need to try and claim that position back. We're side by side with Barney here, giving a bit of space. Oh, yeah, here we go. No space was awarded again. Probably a little bit of understeer from Barney themselves. Very, very tight going through that corner there. But thank you, the curb is so wide that we had a little bit of space to play with. And for some reason, Barney went gardening. Yeah. Position gain is a position gain. Catching up to Marticus up in front, who is rocking a lovely 0.8 second penalty, and the MG. A once triumphant car that got put into the cesspit of nerfing. It was actually a really good car, one of the favourites. It was the only other car that would put an Audi to shame, but almost chopping the nose off poor Marticus behind, but no contact was awarded. So clean pass overall, although kind of forceful. Near had our back end smashed into, and rear doors split wide open, but thankfully that was not the case. Marticus eventually managed to swing off the left hand side, and we secured this position. P5 on the other hand is 3 seconds away, which is quite the time delta. It's going to be a little bit of a challenge to find that. I mean, we're lap 4 of 6. Only 2 more laps remaining of this race. 2.7 seconds away now. We're braking down to 3rd gear. Nice and tight over the curb here. Back over the left-hand side. We have FAF behind, who is rocking the Logitech. A car you really do not see. But to be fair, I think it would actually excel at this track because what you lose in top speed, you gain in corner ability, as well as you can rock soft tyres here and do a full stint, and it wouldn't bat an eyelid, unlike a TCR car where it would absolutely destroy him by lap 4. So they gain overall in that sense and are able to carry more momentum in a lot of the corners. Never mind, the car is actually very, very pointy. Just got to try and keep the rear end tamed somewhat. It is a very active car at the back end of it. Ooh, almost cutting the track there. Coming off a little bit pace here. Seem to be a bit slower than what we should be. Whether it's because we're not chasing down somebody and knowingly under pressure, or just poor driving. I'm going to put it down to just poor driving, because FAF has now the window to be able to take this position from us. Not ideal, but we might be able to savor this as we go down the straight. I don't think the slipstream is going to be powerful enough for them to really reel us in, or any context of that, but we're not going to be able to shake them away either. I mean, we're 6 tenths down this lap. Awful lap, especially 2 of the corners. That one we forgot to slow down on, and the other one, well, it was just awful. Oh, great. Absolutely brilliant start to this lap as well. Handing over the position to the Logitech, and now under pressure from Corridor 4466 behind us. To be fair, they are rocking a 2.8 second penalty, so even if they did gain said position, which looks like they are, and guess what? We can all go too wide through there, providing space is given. Yeah, see, it can be done. Anyway, they have that 2.8 second penalty, so as long as we are able to keep up with them, we will still secure position 7 overall. Marticus behind is 1.6 seconds away, so we're not under pressure from them in any shape or form, which is ideal. And I still think that rear bumper on the Veloster looks like a smiley face. You see that? It's got a little bit of a grin in there, just smiling his backside at us. Yeah, you know, you keep showing off, buddy, but we are right behind. So one mistake, we will capitalize upon that and put your backside to shame. And the only person who's really putting their backside to shame is the driving ability of myself at this track. It's not the greatest. And again, like I say, the excuses are going to be, been a long time since we've done TCR and just hopped in. Let's get a race under our belt. And yeah, you know, there's no point learning to swim in the shallow end. You might as well jump in the deep end and see what happens. At least the lights are turned on eventually, and I still wish we had light control on our cars. Because to be fair, throughout the whole of this race, I would have actually put the lights on, because you can see the marks on the tarmac a lot clearer. You know, like brake reference points, darker patches, on the track. Things like that would be a lot easier to spot out. They have took that corner very wide and ultimately backed off. FAF 2.5 seconds ahead. Corridor behind is now increasing that gap away from us. Pretty much secure position 7 overall. And considering how this race started off and how this race is ending, cannot actually grumble too much. We started where we finished, position 7. And I think we're actually setting a better lap here. There we are, almost 4 tenths up. Has swiftly gone back down from a few pretty terrible corners. That is quite hard to master, I would say. But once you've got it and you've got the rhythm through the S's there, it is such a time dealer, you know. It gains so much from it and leave everybody standing. And the same with this corner here. If you can turn in, get it just right on those track limits, you can really gain so much. But for the final finale, sideways into the second to last corner, showing off to the crowd in the stands. As you can see them all put their hands up in the air and totally static and not giving a crap. We crossed the finish line in position 7. What a glorious race that was. But it doesn't end there, because we're going to head over to the Nurburgring. It's the full circuit, 1 lap. So you can imagine how messy that is going to be. Starting off in position 3, which is absolutely ideal, but we have a little secret under our sleeve. We're going to be rocking soft tyres, same as position 1 and 2 to our right hand side. Soft tyres won't make the full lap without being on to minor wear. What you gain in the first half of the race really does set you up for the second half. Now we're under pressure from the car on the right hand side, who is having the inside line, braking probably a tad late for turn 1, ultimately heading in for turn 2 and trying not to avoid any contact to the cars to the right and in front, cut the track and gain an illegal pass while still being in the same position. Talk about absolute bull. To be fair, to a certain degree, and I'm going to stick up with the stewards here ever so slightly, it's literally like the 1%. We was a pixel over the line exactly at the same time the Honda Civic behind us gained that position. And then they braked, and as we were still a pixel over the line braking, we gained that position back. And that is what resulted in the illegal pass. Now the sad thing about it is the stewards don't understand concept of surrounding vehicles, so it just sees you went off track, you overtook, you went back on track as you overtook that other car, so that is on off track overtake, which is an illegal pass. It has no idea what goes on in the real world and understands that you might actually been avoiding an accident or whatever, you know. It is what it is, and thankfully it's only 0.8 seconds. That could have been a lot worse. What we do need to do is close this door on the car up in front. Now it is a fart cam, which we all know is very, very quick in a straight line at this track, and ultimately I kind of feel I wish I chose it myself. We set some great lap times in the fart cam here, and it really is about 3 or 4 tenths quicker on the back straight than most of the other cars. So if we can catch up to Don up in front, apply a bit of pressure, we might be able to incite an incident if they get or feel the pressure, or if we can keep up with them, use their momentum of that car to provide a good amount of slipstream. Now they are absolutely barreling down here, and I'm not too sure how we managed to hold on to that corner there, but they haven't braked yet. That is a crash. A very brutal crash nonetheless, but yeah. Brakes are quite optimal at a race, and slowing down for corners is usually quite helpful, so I'm not too sure on the decision making of that moment there. Well, I'm not going to grumble too much though. We're up to position 2, right behind Extra Yacht, Gene 08 up in front. Raced them many times, a very quick and very fair driver. So Gene, if you see this, hello buddy, how are you doing? But come around here, letting off, not having a bottle to be flat out, even though on soft tyres. Again, you know, this is our second race in TCR. Gotta try it and try and stay on the track, you know. The cars behind are only 3.5 seconds away, so one mistake, they will be all over us, and you've got to try and overtake them and claim that back, and it's not the ideal track to do easy overtakes. So braking down the third gear, nice and tight, clicking it down a second, get a bit more momentum coming out of the corner. 2.3 seconds away again from the car in front. If we are able to gain on that position, we need to also find another 0.8 seconds upon them, and that is going to be the most difficult part. Of course, I'm more than happy to settle down in position 2, providing we can keep hold of it and set a good consistent lap time and not crash or gain any further penalties. Easier said than done here, but going through here, absolutely butter beautiful. Made it out the other side in one piece and used the whole track to our advantage. Very rare that I managed to get that corner as well as we did. Flat out down here, going to let off for this corner because the amount of times I touched that curb and went off into the wall on the right side is not even funny. So we're not going to play that game now. We're going to act a little bit more cautiously, surrender a few attempts to make sure we stay on the track. And actually, ultimately, I think we gained a bit of time on the car in front, now down to 2.2 seconds. Gained a little bit of time away from the car behind. Madol Lee 463 is now 4 seconds away. Managing to come through here in one piece, a little bit slow. Could have carried a lot more speed through there. Braking down for this corner now, down to second gear, nice and tight, hugging that curb on the left, getting that power nice and early and out the other side. Again, a few attempts slow, and we're now 2.5 seconds away from the car up in front. Going to use the curb to our advantage, keep us pointing in the right direction, and down to second gear. Try not to touch that curb on the right side like we just did, because it just catapults you out to the left. Ultimately, we're still in one piece, and that is actually what matters the most. Almost 6 seconds away from the car behind, which is a mountain of time. Only if you don't crash, you know. One incident and that amount of time is suddenly gone. Not getting the greatest of exits out of that corner there, and it's a very crucial corner that you need to get right because it sets you up for this mountain climb. And what you lose at the bottom feels like, and probably is, doubles or triples at the top because you lose so much momentum. You see Gene up in front now, almost 3 seconds away. So we lost half a second upon them from just pretty much butchering the mountain climb. Don't get me wrong, that car is pretty quick. But, you know, everything does add up, and Madoli is now 5.5 seconds away. So they found half a second overall from just one mistake there. Now through here, pretty much flat out, everything the car has got. As soon as the curb sticks out a little bit, hard on the brakes, down to second gear. By the looks of it, that I thought extra yards up in front hit the wall, but sadly was not the case. Still 2.2 seconds away, so one corner we clawed a little bit back. Let's hopefully they see that applies them a bit of pressure, and mistakes are going to be made. Mad Lee, we've been pronouncing the name wrong, is almost 6 seconds away again, and GT Brave Crow is 12.5 seconds away, rocking a 2.1 second penalty, which is really great to see. So yeah, we're not under much pressure here, but tyres are starting to wear. 58% remain, 50% is where the tyres click onto minor wear, and we're actually hunting down that car up in front ever so slightly. Now carried a little touch too much momentum through there, but we're still quicker than the car up in front, which is what we need. We need to make sure we can start closing that door. 1.9 seconds away. Coming down here, great section of this track. If you can nail this place butter smooth, the amount of time you gain is incredible. You see 1.7, 1.6 seconds away from that car up in front. The sun is shining on the track, and you cannot see anything, and almost run so far wide that we went gardening ourselves. Not the case. Lost 2 tenths, let's be fair, and Gene up in front is now 2 seconds away. Always overbrake this corner so much for some reason, not too sure why. It destroys a lot of the momentum you have, so again, don't brake as much as I did there. Not ideal, but flat out down here, 2.1 seconds away from Gene. There's a road on the right side just there, just after it, as the fence stops. Start braking down to third gear, and again braking here. Very easy to go off the track here, and bear in mind though, once you go off the track, it's also a sinkhole, so you go off the track and down a dip. It's very, very hard to get out of, so it's better probably to be more cautious than it is to layer it around that corner. While yes, we have lost a little bit of time from Gene up in front, 3 seconds away, it was, like I said earlier in this race, going to be very difficult to manage to get past them and claim 0.8 seconds on top of that. So in reality, we secured position 2, provided obviously we make it to the end in one piece. Madly behind is almost 8 seconds away, so we've blown a lot of time away from them through the final section of that track. And Brave Crow 13.2 seconds, which is absolutely ideal. And you see now the tyres are on 44%. They're 3% sorry, away from being onto moderate wear. So soft tyres is the right choice to make at this track when it's 1 lap, or even 2 laps. You know, you stop in the pits for 1. You can do hard no stop, which I do believe is probably actually quicker overall when you got the GP circuit involved as well. The pit stop with the GP circuit is quite a lot longer than the pit stop that you see just on our right side. That is barricaded off. 3.2 seconds away from Gene up in front. 7.5 seconds away from Madly behind. Front left hand tyre now on moderate wear. Crossing that line in position 2. What a brilliant race that was. Thank you all for watching. See you all next time.